everything going?
Yep.
Okay, we have a quorum and we're ready to go whenever you want to get started.
Okay, thank you. I must not be seeing all the names. Oh, there we go. Like, how do we have, holy cow, Brant, nice beard. Welcome. It's like Roger's sitting in a hotel room. Welcome to our UIA board meeting this morning. Has anybody had a chance to review the minutes from August 11th or September 8th?
I reviewed the minutes and I moved that we adopt the minutes for what days were they? August 11th and September 8th.
Okay, we got a motion by Brenda. Is there a second?
I'll second that. This is Zach.
Thanks, Zach. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes on that. The 2026 board meeting schedule. Is this just a regular motion, Roger, on this? Or we need to have any discussion on it?
You're welcome to have as much discussion as you want, but typically we just have it out there, and if anybody has any concerns, you can bring it up. But it's just we kind of go with the same logic every year of having the first Monday, unless there's some holiday or some reason to push it to a second Monday.
Oh, it's typically the second.
Or second, sorry.
Yeah.
Default second. Sometimes we move to the first or the third or something.
The one exception is October because it lands on Columbus Day and some cities have that off. So I think it's the Monday prior to that.
Okay, do we need to make a motion to approve the schedule?
Yes.
All right, somebody take care of that, please.
Yeah, Derek, I'll make that motion
Thanks,
to approve
Brenda.
the 2026 board meeting schedule as recommended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Brenda. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Looks like next we'll turn time over to Jason for the fraud risk assessment.
Thank you, Derek. We're required by the state to present to our board annually the fraud risk assessment and where we stand as far as where fraud risk is here based off their checklist. If you look at where we are this year, there's a total of 395 points possible. We have 375 points this year. That puts us in the risk level of very low. There have been 3 changes from the prior year, increasing our score, or actually 4 changes. There have been 3 policies that we did not have last year that did not have formally approved by the board last year that have now been prepared and formally approved by the board. And I'd like to thank Nicole and Krista for their efforts to get these policies and procedures in place that we were missing. The ones we were missing were the ethical behavior policy, reporting fraud and abuse policy. Tell me if I get these wrong, Nicole. I think I've got them right. And the cash receipting and deposits policy. We did have an informal policy for some of these, but we didn't have, some of these had not been approved by the board yet. So we took care of that and formalized those and got them approved by the board. Additionally, the other thing that we were missing is down here, number 4, it says our employees and elected officials required to annually commit in writing to abide by a statement of ethical behavior. If you'll all remember, early in the year, we sent out to our board a request that you all sign this statement of ethical behavior, and we got that signed by everybody, so we were able to check that off. The only thing that we don't have is, do we have a formal internal audit function? We don't have that. That requires additional employees, and it's something that we've never done here, and frankly, I believe a lot of your cities probably don't have that either, but a couple of the bigger ones, larger ones may. Any questions for me on the fraud risk assessments? Anything you guys would like to know?
Hearing no questions, I appreciate it, Jason. Good work on getting those other items taken care of. think next on the agenda is Nicole for our open and public meetings training.
Okay, thank you. Yes, annually, as you're aware, we have the opportunity to train and the requirement to train on Open and Public Meetings Act. And in order to do that in the way that, especially, I know that each of you have heard this maybe a couple of times already this year, but in the way that is most efficient, we will just quickly watch the video of the state auditors that they've produced. And then if there are any questions, we can talk about that quickly afterwards. Of course, Utopia, we have a great staff here that makes sure that all of the notices and all of the business of Utopia is handled in the appropriate way and under state law appropriately. But I want to make sure that we're also following this requirement. So we'll quickly do that. I'll just share this and we'll start our video and we can ask questions. You guys hear it?
What's that? Utopia? Yep.
Yeah, audio's not coming through.
Then this one will probably be turned all down by one is. No, I just think there's these between now. Okay, let's see if that causes the revert.
Before we continue, keep in mind that this video is an overview and exceptions may exist based on your entity type. We focus on local. So what is the Open and Public Meetings Act? It's the state law that ensures government actions and deliberations are openly conducted. Before we continue, keep in mind that this video is an overview and exceptions may exist based on your entity type. We focus on local government, not state requirements. When in doubt, read the law and consult with your legal counsel. So what's considered an open and public meeting? It's when a public body quorum, also known as a simple majority, meets to discuss or act upon government business. It includes the meetings sometimes referred to as workshops or executive sessions. Regular meetings, public hearings, electronic meetings, and emergency meetings are all open and public meetings. Open and public meetings don't include chance or social meetings. A public hearing is a type of open and public meeting where citizens have a reasonable opportunity to speak. Public hearings happen when a government adopts a budget, imposes or increases taxes or fees, or transfers money from an enterprise fund. These meetings have extra notice and posting requirements and won't be addressed in this video. An electronic meeting is a type of open and public meeting that's convened electronically, such as via phone or the internet. Remember, the governing body must adopt a resolution, rule, or ordinance allowing and governing electronic meetings. OPMA adds additional requirements too. An emergency meeting may be held to discuss an urgent matter due to unforeseen circumstances. In order to hold the meeting, the best notice that's feasible is provided of the time, location, and topics to be considered. An attempt is made to contact all governing body members, and the governing body majority approves the meeting. An open and public meeting may be closed to discuss any of the following: person's character, competence, or health, collective bargaining, litigation, certain real property transactions, including any form of a water right or water shares with specific restrictions, security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, investigations of criminal misconduct, and private or protected information for the Utah Procurement Code, including trade secrets. A closed meeting may be held only if a quorum is present and the meeting was properly noticed. 2/3 of the governing body present at the meeting need to vote yes to close a meeting. Quick math lesson. 2 divided by 3 equals 66.7%. Let's say your governing body has 5 members present at the meeting. If 3 out of 5 members vote yes, that equals 60%, which is not equal or greater than 66.7%, which means you're 1 member short and would need 4 out of 5 members to vote yes. During a closed meeting, a governing body can't interview someone applying to fill an elected position, discuss filling a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, discuss the character, competence, or health of a person whose name was submitted for consideration to fill a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, approve any ordinance, resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment, or take a vote, unless it's a vote on a motion to end the closed portion of the meeting and return to an open meeting. When a governing body closes a meeting, the following must be publicly announced and entered into the minutes of the open meeting at which the closed meeting was approved: the reason or reasons for holding the closed meeting, the location where the closed meeting will be held, and the vote of each member of the governing body either for or against the motion to close the meeting. If a closed meeting is discussing a person's character, competence, or health, or security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, or several other exceptions, mostly related to state bodies or project entities, no recording or minutes are required. However, the presiding member needs to sign a sworn written statement stating such. If the closed meeting is held for any other reason, a recording must be made, which includes date, time, and place of the meeting, names of members present and absent, and names of all others, except where disclosure would infringe on the confidentiality necessary to fulfill the original purpose of closing the meeting. Regular open and public meetings require 24 hours notice. The public notice includes the meeting agenda, date, time, and place. Public meeting agendas need to include reasonably specified topics to be considered, with each topic listed under a separate agenda item on the meeting agenda. The governing body may not consider a topic in an open meeting that wasn't on the agenda. If a new topic not on the agenda is raised by the public during an open meeting, the governing body may discuss the topic. However, final action may not be taken on the new topic during that meeting. Additionally, entities holding regular meetings scheduled in advance over the course of the year need to provide annual notice of the entire year's meeting schedule. The notice must include date, time, and place for each meeting.
Notice is posted on the public body's website in a public location such as the location where the meeting will be held, and on Utah's public notice website in accordance with Utah Code 63G-30-102.
Typically, posting on the public notice website is done by the records officer, recorder, or clerk. However, it's the governing body's responsibility to ensure notice is provided. State Archives has prepared a training manual and quick guide for owners and posters, as well as training videos that can be accessed at their website, archives.utah.gov. Written minutes and a recording are kept of all open meetings, with few exceptions. Written minutes include the date, time, and place of the meeting, the names of members present and absent, the substance of all matters, names of citizens providing comments, the substance of the comments provided, any information a body member requests be entered into the minutes or recording, and a record by individual member of each vote taken. A body with elected members must record each vote in list format by category for each action taken by a member, including yes votes, no votes, and absent members next to each member's name. A recording must be a complete and unedited record of all open portions of the meeting from beginning to end, and be labeled with the meeting date, time, and place. All or any part of an open meeting may be independently recorded by any person in attendance if the recording does not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Pending minutes means written minutes of an open meeting in draft form subject to change before being approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Pending minutes must contain a clear indication, such as a draft or pending watermark, that the governing body hasn't yet approved the minutes and that the minutes are subject to change until the public body approves them. Approved minutes means written minutes of an open meeting approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Entities must establish and implement procedures for the public body's approval of written minutes. Public meeting pending minutes, approved minutes, and recordings are public records under grandma. Any individual who publicly presents information relating to an item on the public body's meeting agenda must provide a copy of the information for inclusion in the public record. Make pending minutes available to the public within 30 days. Within 3 business days after approving written minutes of an open meeting, make approved minutes and any public materials available at the Utah Public Notice website, the entity's primary office, and the entity's website. Within 3 business days after holding an open meeting, make an audio recording of the open meeting available to the public for listening.
Hey. Questions on that?
You might just take a minute.
Which one are we meeting?
I think we need to mute.
I'm muted. I've been muted.
Yeah, she's been muted.
Okay. We good then? Okay.
Okay, any questions I can answer? Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Nicole, for doing that for us this year. Next, we got the financial update from Jason and then the network update from Roger.
Thank you, Derek. I have up here the financial update through October 31st, 2025. You'll note that on our 3 major revenue lines for residential transport, business transport, and fiber lease revenue, it shows that we're trending to come in between 3 and 4% below budget for the year. These numbers are a little misleading. I'm sorry. They're all I've done is taken a arithmetic average for the first 4 months of the year and projected that out for the remainder of the year. It doesn't take into account the growth that we've seen. We've already seen growth in monthly revenue from the end of fiscal year 2025 in June through October 31st of about $225,000 per month for those 3 lines. About half of that's not taken into account when you look at these numbers. But with the growth we have going on, I fully expect us to meet or exceed our budgeted numbers for revenue. I think we're going to be good. The one line on here that we're looking at and watching closely right now, marketing expense. We're on pace to be $2.4 million over budget. Some of this is maybe due to our growth being a little bit faster than we thought it would. We're watching this and we're hoping that some of the expenses going to lead to additional revenue at the end of the year, and we'll keep you updated on where this ends up. I think that's all I had mainly for the financial update that I thought was worth noting. Any questions on the financial? Hearing none.
Well, let me just make a comment. You said it was 2.5 million over. No, it's $1 million over. The budget was 2.5, right?
Oh yeah. Did I say 2.5 million over? I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong number. I got number fatigue. It's looking like we may end the year at 2.4 million and budget's at 1.5 million. I think that's probably a little aggressive, but that depends on, once again, some of it's growth related. And if we have enough growth, it'll show through in revenue. We're trying to get through all those numbers right now. It's harder to see at the beginning of the year than at the end of the year.
Yeah, and just a quick comment on that. So we did when we add more customers, there are expenses when we add a customer, so to have more customers than we budgeted for, there is an additional marketing expense there. But then we also, I'd say the lion's share of it was additional marketing that we haven't done. We did have a much more broad door-to-door campaign across the cities this year, and that resulted in great subscriber uptick in a lot of our existing cities that hadn't really seen a bump up, and we could show that in the subscriber numbers. And the financial modeling of, do we pay for a commission or a door-to-door campaign or these other things? Does that work financially? And it does. It does have a good ROI to add a customer to an existing system. That's one of the best things we can do. But where does that expense come from? It does come from an additional marketing expense and the installation to the system. But it's far better than like, hey, let's go build a new system from scratch and add subscribers there. So financially, it is good to do that. But it does show up as quite a big cost expense here in our marketing budget. So I wanted to address that a little bit. We're still kind of digging into all the different categories. There's a lot of things that goes into marketing, from digital ads to flyers to PR type stuff. But yeah, adding that all up, we're over budget, and just wanted to be able to address that. But it's nothing that we're especially concerned of, but want to make sure that we're being transparent with the board on what that's coming from.
Yes. Sorry, Roger, I misspoke there.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Any other question? Oh, you got some more slides, Jason.
I was going to show just the revenue charts quickly at the end. As you can see, updated through October, we're still seeing revenue increase. Slowly at Utopia, which is the bottom blue line, more quickly at UIA, which is the red line, green line's the total between the two. Seeing good revenue increases. We're averaging over 50,000 a month for the first in just UIA in UIA and Utopia when you look at the first 4 months of the year, and that's really good growth. Really good growth for our history. Revenue versus bond obligation. I will say there is something new on this chart. You'll see this shows monthly revenue versus total monthly bond payments. You'll notice that this gap is growing, and this is what we're using to fund the repayments to the cities and to any additional maintenance and other needs that we have at Utopia and UIA. But there is a new bond on here, and that's this small little dot here in October at the end. Any additional questions? If not, that's all I have.
Is there any questions for Jason on the financials? Okay, hearing none. Roger.
Right. Network updates, the fun stuff. I mean, the financials fun too, but we did just pass 80,000 subscribers across all of our systems, which is kind of an exciting milestone. Now that's, Jason is always quick to point out, like, well, we can't count all of those because some of them are Utopia and some of them are kind of these partnerships we have out there. So they don't always represent the same revenue growth depending on where those subscribers are. But the good thing is that a lot of them are in our existing systems. We're not seeing, we're still doing well from a revenue growth perspective at UIA and at Utopia. And so I'm going to just let me just do my little screen share here. This is just from the board packet. I'll pull this up. So some of the things that we like to point out in our subscriber reports, and I will admit that there is a little bit of a mistake in these. We had some of the formulas that expire out, so some of the charts don't extend all the way to the far right column. I think like right there's like a little brown one that doesn't get all the way there over there. So we'll get those fixed up for the next report. But the overall numbers are right. The subscriber take rate numbers are right all the way through this last month. So we see consistent growth across the board on the cities. We have a little bit of exception there with Santa Clara. That's a topic that's come up many times we got double overbuilt there with two other providers with a bunch of promotions and things. So we are going to be pushing again in there, kind of with the timing of those promotional rates expiring off. Fortunately, it's a smaller city and doesn't affect us much financially and across the whole of the UIA bonds. Uh, the much larger cities and pretty much all of the other cities, we are seeing really good growth. And so you can look at the take rates, they go up. Sometimes you'll see a slight dip. And then we're always like, oh no, are we losing subscribers there? Is there a competitive threat? Is there something, we watch these things very closely. In most of these, I think we saw a little dip. Where was it? In Orem. And a lot of times it's when we record additional addresses for redevelopment or new development and things like that. So it's important just in the context of things to understand as we drill down into like the city specific numbers. I'd say Orem. I could jump down just to show an example here. So Orem, the important thing would be to just keep an eye on the actual number of subscribers, that's not dipping. It may be a denominator issue. And we did have a door-to-door campaign there that kind of caused that bump up, which was a good bump to have. So we are still seeing very strong subscriber growth collectively across the system, despite some overbuild, right? We do have Lumen, who is being acquired by AT&T, that's doing overbuild of fiber in a lot of our cities. But generally what we see is a short-term hit, and then a lot of those subscribers come back, and it's usually not much of a hit. It's pretty negligible. But we don't want to ever be too casual with that, and make sure that we're always offering the best service to our communities, and that we're price competitive and reliable and all the things that matter, that people want to stick with us. And that has stayed true. Generally. And so we do continue not just to maintain our take rate, but generally we're still increasing take rate across the cities, even where we do have competitive threats or other options in the fiber space. So anyways, just pointing that out, we do provide this with all the city details in there. So feel free to look at your own individual cities and share that and let me know if there's any questions or concerns on any of those. And this is the time of year we kind of see a slowdown just seasonally. So again, if you were to see a little bit of if you were to look at the trend, there's a little bit of a wave. I don't really see it. It's a pretty subtle wave, but in the subscribers, there's a little bit of a wave where it slows down a little bit in the winter months. But over this much time, it gets kind of lost, because we're showing over 10-year period on this thing. But if you look at it each year, we generally do slow down a little bit through about March, and then things pick up in the summer. We expect to see that again. So anyways, we're still very excited. I don't think we don't have new cities coming online like within the last couple months or anything. And so a lot of times we have a bump from just new cities coming online and people signing up who've been waiting for it. We do have construction going on with a partner project in Bozeman, but the other cities are here in Utah that are UIA cities, are not. We don't have any new ones that are being built or coming online. So that could cause things to slow down a little bit. And we've actually been surprised or pleasantly surprised that our subscriber growth is as strong as it is without lots of addresses coming on. And to see that, if you look at the available addresses chart, you'll see that actually is kind of flattening out. And that's not subscribers. That's just basically a reflection of the construction going on out there. So we do think we may have additional cities come on. There's discussions going on, but nobody makes decisions like that during a campaign period. So those would kind of pick up after the new year, where there's new city councils and mayors. There's some cities considering this, but those wouldn't happen until later next year. So that's kind of where we're at with the network and our partnerships. I do want to make mention of one partnership that's come up several times. So we have an agreement to kind of provide the same level of support we do with some of these other partnerships like Yellowstone Fiber and Idaho Falls. And that's with the Golden State Connect Authority out in California. They've been working for many, many years, modeling and trying to figure out what they want to do and getting money in place. They did get a little while back, they got grant money, $180 million, but they needed to have some of their own money in matching funds. And they did get that. They've gone to the market to sell those bonds. They haven't closed yet, but they are expecting to close on approximately $100 million of bonds the middle of this month, about the 15th, I think it is. And so they will have $280 million or so for their project, and are looking to us to help with roles. We're not on the hook for the financing or the performance financially of any of that. Similarly, we just provide roles here, like customer service, engineering, and there's a revenue opportunity for us that could be quite substantial. But that'll affect us in the future. But there is a burden to the organization staffing wise, but we've structured it in a way that the revenues would be significantly more than the staffing expense for anything so that we need to do to meet that need. We wouldn't be having any boots on the ground or anything in California. It would be those functions that we can provide from our staffing here in Utah. So we're pretty excited for them and their opportunity to serve some rural areas that are in need, and happy to kind of support that in a way that also generates revenue for cities that have taken the early years of this being very difficult and being able to benefit from what we built and create some revenue opportunities for the organization. And, as we create revenue opportunities and grow that, it's a opportunity for us to pay off bonds early and keep our costs lower for our subscribers. So anyways, those are just a couple of the updates I wanted to provide.
Roger,
Questions?
what's the construction timeline for the California stuff?
I've kind of modeled things over a couple of years. We probably expect it to take closer to 3 years. There's some seasonal delays with some of their territory is mountainous. So the town of Mammoth Lakes, if you're familiar with that one, it's probably the one that's most known because it's a ski resort town. But that one we can't build in the winter, so that one is expected to take longer. Some of the areas are in more plains type area or agricultural areas, I guess, that can be built year round, or desert, I guess. Imperial County is a desert climate area. There's a couple of regions where the projects will be at. And so some will be year-round construction that should get wrapped up over about 2 years, and some would extend to 3 years.
Okay, is there any other questions for Roger?
Well, thank
Okay,
you.
hearing none, appreciate everybody jumping on this morning for a quick little meeting, and we got to get it down to 30 minutes right on to save Brent. He's already out on us, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is that Brant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Carolyn Lundberg.
Thank you, Mayor. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and have a great holiday. Thanks.